Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Mantin. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of imVision. I'm here to speak with you today about API security. And no, I think Oren actually set the stage very nicely about why we need API security. When we're talking about our backdoors, when talking about our data, that's the key point for the API security need and value proposition. A few words about us. imVision, we are in the market for approximately 4 years. Our revenue growth 3x year over year. We have Fortune 500 customers on our customer base, and we are planning to get to $10 million in revenue by the end of next year. So what is all about APIs? API is the first time that organizations are actually taking their core business asset, the core business capabilities, and just throw it outside. Throw it to the outside world, let people consume that, let partners consume that, and that's make the critical change. We see API today are everywhere. We see that on B2B, we see that on B2C. No matter what you do in the digital world, you do with API. We practically say inside, and we are in imVision, say that the API are practically the language of the 21st century. And the problem with APIs are that it's no longer a matter of securing access. It's all about how to secure our business operation, how to secure our business logic. APIs are vulnerable mainly on two key areas. One is implementation vulnerabilities, and the other is logic vulnerabilities. Implementation vulnerability, it's simple. It means that it was designed properly but implemented improperly. Why? Because we are the organizations. We would like to generate more features, to generate more revenues, to bring our business. We don't want to deal with security, so we work fast. When we work fast, we add more capabilities, and those capabilities had some bugs. Those are the backdoors that the hacker use in order to get into our data. The second one is the logic vulnerabilities. No one's perfect, sorry guys. We design things improperly, and the way we design things improperly leads to logic vulnerabilities. So if we look at that, from a standpoint of the industry, what happened in the market is a complete change in the way we should think about our security. In the past, take it 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, no matter, it was all about access control. We were exposing assets to the outside world, our network, our servers, then we moved to the cloud, so our virtual machine. It doesn't matter. It was all about exposing assets or enabling access to our assets from the outside, and then we dealt with access control. Okay, what do we need to do? How to control the access? Who get access to those assets? But the problem with APIs, it's no more, it's had nothing to do with access control. It's all about us taking our core business logics and just throw it on the outside. The API economy is all about how to make more people and more organizations to consume our APIs. We don't want to block them. We want them to use it. But we want to make sure that they use it properly. We want to make sure that they use it in the way the API was designed to be used. And they're not leveraging on those logic vulnerabilities and implementation vulnerabilities in order to harm our business. We just, in the past couple of months, as we saw the most reputable organizations out there, the ones with the unlimited budgets of security, are being hacked on their APIs and data that was breached. That's very nicely, I think, prove what many market references are saying today, that the existing solutions, the ones that deal with access control, are failing to deliver on their promise. No, it's not that they are not good solutions, but they are the wrong solution for this type of problem. And if you just clearly see how those existing technologies work, you can easily understand why there is no way that And any type of firewall, any type of web application firewall, any type of access control technology, with no matter how much effort and resources human and best service experts and security experts we will put on those tools, they will not save us from being exposed on our APIs. And this is the key thing. You know, for security people, they hold the hammer, and for them, every problem is a nail. But that's not the case. API is a different problem, and a different problem that requires a complete different solution. And that's where we come to play. What we realize that the number one problem of API is the fact that API are very unique and very tightly coupled to the service that they serve. We as an organization, we have our business operations, we have our business logics, and we encapsulate that in a service, and we throw it to the outside world to consume it through our APIs. How to build a solution that will be able to understand the logic of each and every API and still be a product and not a tailored project or something that we need to develop on a per API one by one. And that's where the language came to play. What we did in imVision, we realized that API is a language. And if we look at that exactly like a dialogue where you have the API publisher on one side and the API consumer on the other side, they hold a discussion, they hold a dialogue. And that dialogue, if we represent that as a language and utilize a very powerful algorithms from the natural language processing domain, from the NLP domain, we will be able to understand the dialogue of the API. And then, once you understand it, you understand what are the subjects, you understand how the dialogue is being exchanged, then you can build an enforceable models fully automatically that will verify and validate that your APIs are being used and consumed in the exact way that you want it to be used and consumed. So to do this, as I've mentioned, the key point is representation as language. How to take API calls and represent them as sentences, not in English, but in the API language. How to design NLP or customized NLP algorithms to be perfectly fit for a dialogue type of communication that, on one hand, is less complicated compared to a natural language, but on the other hand, needs to be very, very, very accurate. Because the last thing that we want is to block good and proper API calls that's supposed to generate business to our organizations. So that is the key technology or key enablement behind the solution. So what we did, we have developed a platform that's called Anomaly Management Platform. We intentionally call that anomaly management and not anomaly detection because we see a full lifecycle management needed when we detect an anomaly when it comes to an API, because we really want to understand the full sequence of processes that happens across our API. It's not just by analyzing one parameter or one API call. It's analyzing the content within the right context, and that's what language is all about. So we have built that, and we integrated that into the solution. The API security must be part of your solutions, the solutions that, or the services that organizations are building. And by doing this type of integration, we actually can analyze every API dialogue that happens across our services and validate them. We are commercially deployed, of course. We have field proven with 500,000 API calls per second with biggest customers on the globe. We are, by today, analyzing 10 different types of or groups of APIs. And we do also something very important. We do cross-API correlation. Because sometimes we all see API as a silo. Oh, this API does that, but this API does that. But APIs are, being a language, actually exchange information about the same subject on different forms or different APIs. And only when you correlate across them, you can be much more accurate and be able to protect the API calls. So with that, I also met the timeline. Thank you very much for listening, and we appreciate I'm around, so we'd love to speak more about API security. Thank you very much.
Thank you.